Hi, my name is Cameron, and my professor gave our class the challenging task of picking just one problem in our society. And I decided, let's get personal. Racism has been around for so long that there are traditions based around it, lifestyles, even. Behaviors that are inherently racist, most people don't even catch on their radars. This is an issue that needed to be solved generations ago. So why hasn't it? Well, it is complicated. It is unclear when racism was first introduced, but there are theories that it was around in the 13th, 14th century, and it probably started because of religion. With each new generation, racism has only gotten more complex and harder to get rid of. Back in the early centuries, they were probably just like, guys, come on. Don't use witchcraft and worship the devil and other deities. And, their response was probably like, come on, leave us alone. We're doing our own thing. And you can probably guess what happens after that. Our history is very violent, very bloody, very brutal, and there's absolutely no justification for it. But this is not a lesson about racism in our history. This is about racism in science. Throughout history, whether it's religion or science, the public values these discoveries and listens, which is powerful because the public, the people, they make our reality. According to Sandra Fetter, who is a Stanford psychologist, they determined 7 factors that contribute to at least American racism. Categories, which organize people into distinct groups, factions that trigger in-group loyalty and intergroup competition, segregation, which hardens racist perceptions, preferences, and beliefs, hierarchy, which emboldens people to think, feel, and behave in racist ways, power, which legislates racism on micro and macro levels. The media legitimizes overrepresented and idealized representations of the stereotypical white American while marginalizing and minimizing people of color. And then, in my opinion, the worst one, pacifism, which is the overlooking or denying the existence of racism and encourages others to do the same. Which takes us right into phrenology, which, if you don't know, is the detailed study of the shape and size of the cranium. This was to indicate mental abilities, character, personality traits. I honestly thought this was a really cool concept. I mean, think about it. You'd never have to take another personality test again. You'd never have to take a career test. You could just look at your map chart in your brain and know all the answers that you needed to. If only it wasn't weaponized against minorities. And also, it's a pseudoscience and you can't really prove it, so there's that. But also, Dr. Charles Caldwell made this popular in the 1830s, 1840s, when slavery needed justification. In 1839, Samuel Morton's book, Crania Americana, he had multiple studies indicating the differences between the white man and Native Americans. This leads Andrew Jackson to take action. He's got all the proof he needs to enact Indian removal policies and allow the possession of their lands by Western settlers. Because phrenology got so much hype, so much clout, it led a president to pass laws to get rid of a race from their country of origin. Like, the audacity. That's how much influence phrenology had in this time period. Structural racism. Their focus is to move away from diversity and focus more on inclusion. There was a massive project done not too long ago that shows brilliant minds tackling racism. They wrote a paper that came out not too long ago, earlier this year, Advancing Anti-Racism, Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion in STEM Organizations. It's a consensus study, and they go over all these problems that we have in racism, and there are solutions that could be done to remove those obstacles. One quote that I love from the paper states racism is embedded in our society. Lack of wealth across generations lead to segregated neighborhoods. Those neighborhoods lead to poor school quality, which leads to missed opportunities. Not a direct quote, but I love that because it's so completely true. Racism is built into the structure of our society, and to get rid of it, it's gonna take more than just having protests or passing laws. Like, we're changing minds. We're essentially changing cultures. The basics for their intent is anti-racism, which is the intentional disruption of racism; diversity, fair representation of different human identities and perspective and characteristics; equity, meaning all groups and individuals have fair conditions to obtain resources, opportunities, and just a general well-being. And then you have inclusions, the feeling or sense of belonging in an environment regardless of background. This is just the first step to changing our society and our social cues. It's a well-written paper that goes from the tiniest details to the biggest problems. The solutions from this paper help me come up with some of my own. They go into a lot more detail and much more eloquently than I could ever put it, but I really love the idea of what they're doing. These are brilliant people, scientists, historians, people who are experts in these fields, and one day, I believe that they will change the world. This is just the roadmap to where we need to be. Systemic racism is not something that goes away with just one person or even one organization. It takes multiple organizations, multiple companies, multiple efforts to tackle racism from all angles powerfully and quickly. Some of the solutions I found, some I kind of came up with, but one, better education. Like, we've gotta start young, age 3 to forever, all the way to college, past college. This example needs to just be set in stone at all times so that it's just normal. Don't bring politics into it, be unbiased, improve the learning environment so that it includes inclusion, diversity, and most importantly, kindness. Second solution, having more minorities in position of power. This will hopefully empower those who wish for more but can't see it happening. It sets a good example that people of color are doing something good. Make the conversation normal. Bring it up more, talk about it more, make it open, less taboo. Societal and cultural problems that we have today, they need to be discussed. We can't get anything done if we don't talk about it. Third thing, better role models, teachers, parents, influencers, celebrities, it doesn't matter. Children soak in everything. If they see you acting a certain way, they'll think that it's okay. And how else are they going to learn but to watch their parents and influencers and anyone on the internet and the media? Like, they don't know who they are yet, and we slowly teach them. If you see racism, even in its weakest form, challenge it. If you see something and say nothing, racism won. And for my last solution that I know will probably have lots of controversy, our Second Amendment right. Guns, their only reason for existing is to kill. Imagine for a second that the public felt safe all the time. Like, our law enforcers protected us properly all the time to the best of their ability. And I know accidents happen, stuff happens. But imagine if this country felt safer. There would be no need for anyone to buy a gun and use it. Especially nowadays, it's 2023. Guns are so primitive, honestly. We have to do better, America. Did you know in Japan, first grade students can get on their subway and take a 30-minute ride to their school or wherever they need to go with no fear of being snatched, molested, harmed in any way? This is because children are not just appreciated and loved, they are valued because they are the future. Gun violence blatantly proves that we do not care about our future. We don't respect lives. And this is why racism still exists. I do believe that racism will no longer be a thing in the world, but it will take time. It'll take patience and hard work, and it's not going to happen overnight. And I hope that in my lifetime I'll be able to see it, because it will happen eventually. It can't last forever. But thank you for watching, and I hope I did okay.